Good morning, afternoon or evening from whenever or wherever you are watching this video from. I am Jack Adamas back with my weekend recap, game week 9 in the Premier League. Let's get straight into it. Before we get into this week's video, please do like, share and subscribe. We start this week with the Merseyside derby. We had Liverpool at home to Everton at 12:30. Now, it wasn't a surprise to most that Liverpool did win this game with a Mo Salah brace. I must say Mo Salah's having a great season this season. In his 9 games, he does have 7 goals and 4 assists. I think nobody's raving about it though, just because we're so used to it by now. This game was overshadowed, and I do sound like a broken record, but this game was overshadowed by poor VAR and officiating in the Premier League. Ashley Young did get sent off in the first half for 2 yellows, which was the right decision. But then if you send off Young, you have to send off Konate in the second half, as he was on a yellow and he clearly pulled back Beto, stopping him from going through. But he didn't get a second yellow, and even Jurgen Klopp took him off after that, which goes to show you that he really should have been sent off. And I mean, that overshadowed the game. Obviously, like I say, Mo Salah did score in the first half. He's got a penalty. Sorry, in the second half, he's got a penalty. And then he converted a goal late on after Darwin Núñez set him through. But again, the game was just ruined by poor decisions from the officials. I mean, we have the best league in the world, but some of the worst officials in Europe. I mean, if it is 10 v 10, who knows? Everton could have gone on and nicked something. I'm not saying they would, I'm not saying they will, but it just ruined the game. I predicted a 3-0 win here for for Liverpool. So apologies. It was 2-0 to Liverpool, so I only got 1 point in this one. We then move on to the 3 o'clock kickoffs on Saturday, starting with Bournemouth versus Wolves. The Gary O'Neill derby finished just as I thought it would. Even though it's early in the season, Bournemouth are looking like they will be involved in a relegation battle this season. The first half was pretty even game, when Bournemouth taking the lead through Dominic Solanke, before within the first 2 minutes of the second half, Wolves made it 1-1 before Lewis Cook had a moment to forget after headbutting Hwang. It was unnecessary, and it was a very poor choice from him there. Then the game changed, and then Wolves dominated the game, scoring the winner in the 88th minute. The game finished 2-1. I predicted 2-1, so I get 3 points in this one. We then moved to Brentford versus Burnley. Now, Brentford did dominate Burnley in a much one-sided affair in this one. Maupay thought he had his first goal back at the club after 5 minutes, but that did get ruled out through VAR and offside, which was the right decision. 20 minutes after that, Wissa did score to make it 1-0 to Brentford in a very one-sided first half. Going into the second half, and Mbeumo scores a great goal from outside the box. He whips it top bins on his left foot outside the area. And then to make matters worse for Burnley, Connor Roberts got himself sent off after getting 2 yellows. And then Gudaz does finish the game with he chested outside the area, a great strike. But the one thing I do like about that goal is you hear the crowd yelling, "Shoot!" I did like that. I'm not a Brentford fan, but I did like that. The game did finish 3-0. I did predict it to be a tighter affair. I predicted it to be 2-1 to Brentford, so I only get 1 point in this one. We then move on to City versus Brighton. Now, City came into this with back-to-back defeats, which is very much not like them, so they needed a win in this one, and you can tell that they was fired up because they went 2-0 up after just 20 minutes. Now, Alvarez scored first after 7 minutes, before Haaland got his 9th goal in 9 games this season with a good finish from outside the box. City could have been 3-0 up just before half-time when Doku's shot went just wide of the right post. Then into the second half, the game was much more even. Brighton did have a few chances, one through Gross and one through Matoma, before Ansu Fati scored his 2nd goal in 5 matches this season. And then with 9 minutes added on, Akanji did get sent off for his 2nd yellow in the 95th, which made it a bit more of a game. But City held on to win this one 2-1. I predicted City to win 3-1, so I only got 1 point in this one. Then turn our attention to Newcastle at home to Palace. Now, Murphy did make it 1-0 after just 4 minutes here, after Trips played a lovely touch through to him. He lofted the ball over Johnston. He was very happy to score. It did then go to VAR, but it was onside, so he was able to carry on celebrating. Anthony Gordon then hit the bar before he did score his first goal, when Murphy turned provider in this one, playing it through, and he just tapped it in at the back post. And then just before half-term, Sean Longstaff made this one 3-0 with an extremely rare mistake from Mark Gahey, who's normally very, very solid at the back. He slips, and then Longstaff went through to make it 1-0. The game was wrapped up by half-time, but then going into the second half, Callum Wilson did score to make it 4-0, which completely wrapped the game up. I predicted a win for Newcastle in this one. I thought it would be a tight affair, as Palace obviously came in this with the third best defence. But Newcastle did win this one 4-0. I predicted 2-0. I did only get a point here. And the last game that kicked off at 3 o'clock on Saturday saw Nottingham Forest at home to Luton. Now, Nottingham Forest versus Luton, it was 0-0 at half-time, but it could have gone into the first half at 1-1, 2-1. Chris Wood did have a good chance, but he should have really scored, but he just shot in the box. It was just a bit of a tame effort. Then the last 3 p.m. kickoff on Saturday saw Nottingham Forest at home to Luton. Now, it was a very good game of football, this one, with some good chances coming from either team. And going into the first half, there should have been goals, but it did go into half-time at 0-0. Chris Wood did have a chance where his tame effort did just end up going straight to the goalkeeper before Brown was set through after a great ball in from the right-hand side. He was a fraction too late to making it 1-0 to Luton. And then the best chance of the half landed to Sangari when he's in the area, and he just struck it wide. He should have done better there, sending Nottingham Forest into the break at 1-0, but he didn't. So it was 0-0 going into the second half. And then that's when the goals started coming. Chris Wood scored his first goal of the game when he was set through by Elanga one-on-one, and he put it past the goalkeeper before he had a header that just went over the bar, which was an easier chance than the header he did score a few moments later when he made it 2-0 with his second goal of the game. And then Luton showed some fighting spirit with Ogbeni scoring to make it 2-1 in the 83rd minute from the free kick. He then landed to him, he just struck it. Then in the 92nd minute, Adebayo scored to make it 2-2 for Luton. There was great fighting spirit shown by them in this game as they came back to beat one of their against one of their relegation rivals, which will be a massive point come the end of the season for Luton. I did predict it to be 2-1 to Forest. I was wrong, it was 2-2, so this is the first time this week I got 0 points. Then we move into game on the weekend, which was 5:30 on Saturday. It was the London derby between Chelsea and Arsenal. Now, this was a good game. Cole Palmer did make it 1-0 from the penalty spot after Saliba's handball. Now, we've obviously all seen it by now, but the one thing I did like about this was Enzo. I did like the fact that Enzo told Sterling. It just shows you his power and responsibility and character he has within that team to tell someone of Sterling's stature to give the ball to Palmer for the penalty. Palmer then did slot it away. Palmer could have made it 2-0 just before half-time in a much one-sided affair in the first half, where it was basically all Chelsea. Then it went into the second half where it was the tale of goalkeeping errors. Now, the first came when Mudryk clearly tried to cross it, but he lobbed Raya. Now, people are telling me that he meant to score and he meant to shoot. I don't think he did, because even if you look at his eyes, he's just looking in the area. But I don't believe that he could have meant to actually do that, but he did lob Raya to make it 2-0. Then Raya gave the ball away shortly after that to Palmer. Palmer really should do better and make it 3-0, and then he would have made it game over. But then comes the third mistake from the goalkeepers when Sanchez passes the ball straight to Rice. Now, Rice did score a very good goal from 34 yards out, but I feel like people are getting carried away with this one. It was an open goal. I mean, if you are a professional footballer, you should be able to score that, but taking nothing away from Rice there. And then came the equaliser. Saka crosses the ball in, Trossard's back post. Again, Sanchez really should do better, but he doesn't. So then in the 84th minute, Trossard did equalise to make it 2-2. I did predict this to be 2-2. It finished 2-2, so therefore I got 3 points in this one. And the last game on Saturday was an 8 p.m. kickoff between Sheffield United and Manchester United. Now, no disrespect intended to either team, but it was a very, very boring game, but one that Man United couldn't lose or draw. Obviously, after the sad news that Sir Bobby Charlton had passed away, I couldn't see them losing this game at all. Rest in peace, Sir Bobby. Going into the game, McBurney did have a chance early on. He then hit it straight down Onana's throat. After that, McTominay did chest the ball in the area and shoot on the volley to make it 1-0 to Manchester United before 6 minutes later giving away a penalty with a clear handball in the first half to make it 1-1, which McBurney then slotted away the penalty. Bruno Fernandes then hit the bar just before half-time with a free kick to go into the break 1-1. In the second half, Manchester United did come out a bit more firing. You had Rashford, whose shot just went wide of the right-hand post, with his weaker left foot. And you also had Amrabat, who struck the bar before the unlikely hero of Diego Dallo. When the ball came to him from outside the area, I was saying, he's not going to shoot, is he? He did shoot. He whips it, maybe the goalkeeper could do a bit better, but it does end up going in the top bins. I did predict this to be a Man United 2-0 win. It did finish 2-1, so I get 1 point in this one. Let's go to Sunday, where there was only one game this week. It was Aston Villa at home to West Ham. Now, for me, this was the shock of the weekend, as not in terms of the result, but in terms of the performance, as Aston Villa blitzed past West Ham. Douglas Luiz could have easily had a hat-trick in this one. Early on in the game, he had a shot, which Areola makes a great save at keeping it 0-0. And then shortly after that, Ollie Watkins turns assister, and he assists Douglas Luiz from outside the area. He shoots. I think Areola will be a bit annoyed with himself, as he should really be doing better, but then he scored to make it 1-0 going into the break. In the second half, Alvarez fouled Konsa in the box, which led to the penalty, and Douglas Luiz converted that to double his and Aston Villa's lead. Bowen then had a shot deflected, which off of Pau Torres, which made it 2-1, which I thought would ignite West Ham. It didn't. It only made Aston Villa react even better. Ollie Watkins made it 3-1, who in my opinion is not getting, and I'm one of these people that's always like, calm down, but I don't think he's getting enough recognition this season for his performances. I mean, if you could tell me another player on form like him in Europe, I would like to know who you can bring to the table. Before that, sorry, that's another matter, sorry. And then lastly, Bailey put the icing on the cake with his great goal to make it 4-1, as he cut in on his left foot in the area with a great strike. No goalkeeper in the world saving that one. Aston Villa have now won 11 home games in a row for Emery's team. I predicted this to be 2-1. It was 4-1, so I only got a 1 point in this one. And to round up game week 9, we had Spurs hosting Fulham on Monday night, which is a London derby. Now, since Monday, I've been hearing a lot of people saying, oh, Tottenham played very well. Tottenham didn't play well. Fulham just played very poor. And I'll tell you why. Because both of Spurs' goals came from Calvin Bassey mistakes. The first one, Bassey passes the ball out from the back with no real pressure on him. He passes the ball to Mickey van der Ven, who then passes it to Richarlison, who then sets through Son, and Son goes on to score, which was a very good finish in the end. To be fair to Son, he made it 1-0 before half-time, and then going into the second half, you had a carbon copy of the first goal. Bassey passes the ball out. It goes to Højbjerg, who passes it to Son, who then sets through Maddison, and then Maddison made it 2-0. Calvin Bassey nearly got his third assist of the weekend when he loses out in his own area to Maddison, but his shot goes wide of the post after it deflects. Now, Fulham are desperately missing Mitrovic this season, which is as clear as day. They are creating chances, but they've just got no one to finish it off. But the only bit of good news for Fulham fans this weekend, well, great news for Fulham fans this weekend, is Marco Silva signing a new 3-year deal until 2026. I predicted a 1-1 here. It did finish 2-0 to Spurs, so I got 0 points here. And in my extra game this week, I did do AC Milan versus Juventus. I predicted a 2-1 AC Milan win, but after they went down to 10 men, they did lose 1-0. So I was wrong here because Juventus won 1-0. To round up game week 9, Jack Adamus did strike back this week with a good week. I finished with 6 correct results out of 10 and 2 correct scores out of 10, leaving me with 12 points. But overall, I predicted 8 out of the 10 games correctly, only getting 2 wrong this week. Thank you very much if you are still here at the end of my video. I really do appreciate the love and support I've been getting. Please, I am on Instagram and TikTok, so please do like, share, subscribe and follow. Please, and I will be back this week again better. I'll get better than 12 points this week, and I'll get some more correct scores for you guys. And just remember, if you don't shoot, you can't score. Bye guys. Thank you very much.